Today at Mullin Machinery, we're going to show you how to take apart a hold down for an Accurshear. These particular hold downs came out of a 1/2x10 hydraulic shear, but I imagine they're probably the same kind of hold downs they use in all of their shears. They're not the way I'm used to hold downs coming apart, so I used up my month's allowance of 4-letter words of mechanical persuasion to get them apart. So now that I figured out how, I will show you so it's a little easier. It consists of a piston that is wrapped with a spring. That's not a compression spring. The spring actually pulls together. It's held into the machine by a 1-inch thread, 14 threads to the inch. After you unthread it, just in case you drop it, you don't want to bang the thread up, just keep a nut on the back. Keep your thread safe. When you have them apart, you have the actual cylinder. It uses a standard 2-lip seal, and it has a coarse spiral cut on it, the radius. That's to thread onto the spring. There's the other half with your rod, and that has a spiral on it, and that threads the spring on there. To put it back together, we separate it with a screwdriver and put a little 1/4-inch hex nut in there to keep it open to help thread it on. So first we'll show you how to take them apart, and then we'll put them back together. The easiest way I found to hold them is to put a lathe in back gear and hold them in the chuck. We unthread the actual tube end, because that's the end we have to do the seal in. So put your chuck in back, your lathe in back gear so it doesn't turn. Let me see what the end of the spring is. Snug it lightly in the chuck. Then we use 2 spanner wrenches. I only have adjustable. I prefer they weren't, but that's all I had at the moment. So one end, you grab the end of the spring. Some people will tell you to do this with a pipe wrench. Don't. 1, it chews it up, and 2, if you try to turn this off without backing the spring off, it acts like a Chinese handcuff. So one hand, you pull up on the spring to take some tension off. The other hand, wear your safety glasses too. It is a spring, and they have minds of their own. There you go. Then the spring will pull back in. Pull it apart, and here's your seal. It's got to get changed. First time I tried to do it, someone told me just to put a pipe wrench on here. If you try to turn with a pipe wrench, the spring digs in. Aside from chewing up the rim of your cylinder, it just doesn't want to come apart. So back the spring off slightly with one spanner and turn off with the other spanner. Now we're going to show you how to reassemble. Chuck key. Like I said, we keep a nut on the back so we don't damage the thread. So 1/14 thread. Got a brand new 2-lip seal in there. Being a new seal, it's going to be a little tight, so we'll just push it on in the arbor press. Probably. There we go. Just watch where the thread lines up to start it onto the spring. Press it down to just about lined up with the groove. You can see how it lines up with the groove. Now putting it back on, you shouldn't need to back the spring off. Just make sure if the end of your spring is boogered up a little, use a Dremel tool to clean the bar off. Now, looks like I might need to back that up a little bit. There we go. A little tap, we'll start it on the thread. As it pulls in, it should pop my nut out of there.
Sure is.
Well, we can just pop that out. Next strand, this is one of those just having trouble starting, but
Could always spray a little lube on it.
now hold on. We gotta tap it as it comes up and start spreading the spring. There we go.
You know, and the rest of the spring is the rest of the spring is in the chuck jaws, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't make a difference. It's still pulling the spring out elsewhere, so we're just back it out of the drawer a little bit. We don't need so much in the drawer. Okay. There we go, it's threading in. Oh, keeps hopping out. Let's just keep turning, it'll jump in. This spanner's got a better grip on it. Someone boogered up the original, putting a hitting it with a punch, but yeah. Just put it on a hole.